Okay, so today's lesson is percents, fractions, and decimals. We're going to talk about what percents is, specifically relating it to what we've been doing with ratios. Because percents is part of the overlying category called ratio and proportions. So when you did your benchmarks, there were a lot of questions that had percent in them. The open-ended question was about percents because it's a type of ratio. Then we're going to talk about how to convert fractions to percents and percents to fractions, and also converting decimals to percents and vice versa. Okay, so our first objection is to define percent. A percent is a ratio. When you have a percentage of something, you are comparing it to a ratio of that percent over 100. So if we have 43% of something, that means that we have 43 out of every 100. Okay, and an example down here. 26% of the candy in the bag is orange. This means that for every 100 candies, 26 of them are orange. So we could write this as the ratio 26 out of 100. And then the next example, 97% of students are in school today. So that means that for every 100 students, 97 are present, and we can write that ratio as 97 out of 100. And we'll be talking in a couple of days about how we can express that using a proportion. So say we knew that 97% of students are in school today, we could find out how many students were in school today if we knew how many students were enrolled in the school. Okay, we can show percents three ways. So if we have something like 43%, to write a percent as a decimal, can anyone tell me what I would do? And this is where a lot of you are asking me during benchmarks, like, where's the percent button on the calculator? And there actually is one. I didn't think there was, but it's there. It's like one of those second functions, but you don't ever need to use that. Madison? Good. 0.43. So to change a percent to a decimal, you just take the decimal point and you move it over 2. Because since a percent is a number out of 100, you're dividing by 100. And when you divide by 100, you just need to move your decimal over 2 places to get your answer. So I kind of almost gave away the next one. What would the fraction look like? Megan? Good. 43 over 100. Okay, next one, let's use 12%. What would 12% be as a decimal? Michael, what would 12% be as a decimal?
12 over 100. 0.12.
Yeah, you want to give us a fraction too, don't you? What would the fraction be? You already said it.
12 over 100.
Yeah, 12 over 100. You gave us the fraction first. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, so this is just a little more practice doing that here. Writing a percent as a decimal, you're just going to move the decimal 2 places to the left. And this page just gives you a series of examples. We're just going to do the ones that we do together. We'll probably skip the you try examples since we're trying to do this in a shorter amount of time today. 54%. Raise your hand if you can tell me how to use that as a decimal.
0.54.
Good. 0.54. How about 5%? David?
0.5.
Careful, you need to move the decimal. Yeah, you have to move it over 2 places, and when we're moving it over, we don't have anything there, so we do have to make a 0.
Isn't 0.5 just like 50?
Yes, 0.5 would be 50%. Okay, how about 125%? Cheyenne? Good, 1.25. How about 35.4%? Can't tell if you guys are stretching or volunteering. Brian?
0.354.
Good, 0.354. So we're still just moving that decimal place. So we had a decimal as the original percent. We still have a decimal, but it looks different. Okay, let's go on to the next part. To write a decimal as a percent, what are we going to do? We're doing the reverse of what we just did. So if we're writing a decimal as a percent, Madison? Good. We're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right, because what we're doing is multiplying by 100, which results in needing to move our decimal 2 places to the right. So 0.12 would be what percent? Nathan? 12%. 0.465 would be what percent, Angelina? 46.5. Good, 46.5% or 46.5%. And 0.08 would be what percent? David? 8%. 8%. Good. Okay, again, we're going to skip the you try examples for this. Okay, now when we want to write a percent as a fraction, we're just going to write it over 100, just like we did in that introductory slide. And then we also want to reduce, as we always do with fractions. So if we have 45%, that means that we have 45 out of every 100, and that reduces to
9/20.
good, 9/20. Okay, 36%. How would I write that as a fraction? You guys are tough today. No one wants to volunteer, and this is easy. I know you all know this. Bella, thank you.
36/100.
Good.
And reduced to 6/25.
6/25. No, not quite 6/25.
Oh, 9.
9/25. Good. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, one more thing. To write a fraction as a percent, so when you're starting with a fraction, you're going to first convert that fraction to a decimal. What do you do to convert it to a decimal? When you convert a fraction to a decimal, what do? Michael?
Divide.
You divide. So you're going to divide the numbers, and then you're going to get a decimal, and you're just going to convert that decimal to a percent. Okay, so as an example, we have 4/5. So if we do 4 divided by 5, and you're allowed to use your calculator this time around for these kind of problems, we get 0.8. Converting that to a percent, we move the decimal over 2 places, we have to add a 0, so we get 80%. Okay, let's do 1/4. Casey, can you take us through the process for 1/4? What does that become in the decimal? Good, 0.25. And what percent would that be? You want to move the decimal over 2 places to get the percent. We just want to move it over 2. What do we have?
Oh my God.
Oh, that's pushing that.
You scared me, Mara. All right, back to Casey. Well, I relieved some pressure there. All right, so if we move the decimal over, what do we have? 25. All right, guys. 25%.
Wow.
Your backpack over there.
All right, we are going to do the you try examples for this one just to make sure. Okay, 3/4. Let's see. Hooray, are you done with your test? Okay, go put it in the bin. Let's see, who else? Emma.
I almost fell out of my chair.
All right, guys, we need to get quiet. I know that was exciting.
That was
That wasn't exciting, that was just hilarious.
Okay, go ahead, Emma.
0.75.
Good, this becomes 0.75, and what percent is that? Good. Okay, and the last one, 2/5. Taylor, try that one. Point 4, there we go. Okay, and what percent is that?
4%.
No, careful, it's not going to be 4%. We need to move the decimal over 2. Good, 40%. Okay, so we did actually pretty well. We made good time. I'd like you to do the exit ticket, which is just 3 problems, and the fraction is missing from number 3. For some reason, it just wouldn't stay put, so it's 7/50. You're gonna write each number as a percent. And then your assignment is actually not the textbook. Your assignment is a worksheet instead, which will go a little quicker, and it has a crossword puzzle, so it's a little more fun. Okay, so I'm gonna pass out the worksheet to you as you are doing the exit ticket. I will come around and check that.